down the creek, the best water is generally in the middle of the creek. However, you do need to be aware of the little headlands that protrude around corners, so give them a bit of a berth so that you don't be touching mud on the way in. If you use navionics, the tide begins to cover the concrete pad at 3.1 metres. Then tying up is relatively straightforward, and there's even a diagram on the gate to help you if you've not done it before. So there's Windfall sitting on the posts. Tide is about high now, so she says to start to drop down. We've just got to pull the bow in a little bit and she should be alright. So here's Windfall dried out nicely actually, and leaning just slightly into the posts, ready to be washed off. And there's not much actually to do, it's mostly getting the mud off the anti-foul, because there's not much in the way of barnacle growth. Just a bit of weed, a bit of growth, and a bit of mud. A fair bit of weed on the rudder, and I've scraped the barnacles off the prop. And there's plenty of room to get in under there. It's much better than I thought it was going to be actually, having space to be able to work underneath it. I thought the posts might have been a little bit high, close into the staging, and there's actually plenty of room. It's really good. You can see that the pad has a slight gradient toward the creek to allow for drainage, and a slightly roughened texture that's in parallel with the boat that is there to mitigate against the keel slipping outwards and the boat sliding down the posts. I left on a rising tide, which had the effect of pushing my long keel boat to starboard and down the creek, which was a bit tricky actually. Next time I think I'd wait till just before slack water. The posts have now been marked in feet above the pad, so it's easy to see how much depth you've got underneath you. And booking is essential if you want to use these posts, and book through TSL. You can find them on their website at tsl-online. But I have to say that these are the best posts I've ever used, and I'll certainly be using them again. Thanks very much to TSL.